people have fled Ukraine in the weeks since Russia's invasion. Thousands of Africans were part of the exodus, scrambling to get over borders to neighbouring countries. Governments from South Africa to Democratic Republic of the Congo are working to help their citizens out, some dispatching diplomats to Ukraine's borders to aid students. These young Tunisians were among the first group of students evacuated to Tunis.
There were many difficulties. It was a complicated adventure. It is a war situation with exceptional conditions. It's a disaster. We lived a real nightmare.
Relief swept over families once their children made it home.
I am very happy because my son returned. I am also happy for the others. We hope that all of our children will make it back.
Russian forces shelled the Ukrainian capital Kyiv and second city Kharkiv, which have so far resisted. They have captured the southern port city of Kherson. More than 350 civilians have died in the conflict so far, Ukraine says. Meanwhile, Africans were airlifted from neighbouring Poland, Romania and Hungary, where people fled the conflict. Ghana's Foreign Minister Shirley Botchway received home repatriated students.
Evacuation options were limited as Ukraine closed its airspace at the start of the military operations. This left as the only viable option evacuation by land.
But some are still waiting for their children to make it back, like Nigerian accountant Lukman Basari.
You can bear your children bye-bye. You don't know whether you are going to meet again. And when the situation now comes of this kind of crisis, then it has even escalated your thoughts. Have been issued that, okay, am I going to see these kids again?
Around 16,000 Africans study at universities in Ukraine. Busari's son, Mustafa, a medical student in Vinnytsia, fled to Poland.
The last night I was in the shelter, that's when I decided that I can't continue to stay here because I could not eat, I could not sleep.
Some have denounced racist treatment by soldiers and border officials who gave preference to whites.
I can tell you, the soldiers who are there and the other security agents, they tell you, you are going to stay here. You are fleeing the war. Stay here. You are going to fight with us. You are not going to leave, especially you, black people. These are the stories that are being told, and no, you can't hide them.
Some have been waiting at borders for days, enduring temperatures as low as -10 degrees Celsius. African governments have called for better treatment of their citizens. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba tweeted that Africans are friends and need to have equal opportunities to return home. This ball of scales is just 3 months old. Forest rangers rescued the tiny pangolin off poachers and brought him to this wildlife shelter in Liberia. His caretaker, Junior Day, walks him in the woods at least twice a day for a meal of ants.
So naturally the pangolin don't have any predators except with the humans, because when they get afraid, it will roll into a ball. So rolling into the ball will actually save the pangolin, but it also make it easy for we the human to just pick it up and do anything to it.
Pangolins are an endangered species. In Liberia, they are hunted for their meat, and traffickers export the scales to Asia. It doesn't do well in captivity. The shelter has released about 40 pangolins into the forest since 2017, but several die from stress.
They are taken from their environment. They are beaten, they are trapped, they are kicked, they are starved, they are very poorly treated by the hunters, and then they come here. Although we take very good care of them, this is still not their home. Pangolins are very sensitive. I feel like pangolins don't get sick. They get sick and they die.
The government vowed to end pangolin consumption and trafficking in 2014, but it is harder to fulfill that pledge. Liberia is still recovering from 2 civil wars and an Ebola epidemic. Forest covers more than 40% of its territory. In this village, just 5 hours from the capital Monrovia, locals sell pangolin scales in a market, a bag of scales costs a few dollars. Asian consumers value them for supposed medicinal properties, unproven up to now. There, a kilogram of scales costs several $100s.
It's because of poverty we got to home. And when the government is saying that we boys start killing ants bear or this animal, they have to open an avenue for us to get a job so we can get money to sustain our home.
Back in Monrovia, the Forest Brigade carries out a raid on a market. In just a few minutes, they already find bushmeat, including pangolin. This vendor says meat worth more than $3,000 was confiscated. It is a colossal sum in Liberia, where almost half the population lives below the poverty line.
You call me, you want to go do prostitution job in the street for us to live? Sorry, we get.
But authorities are determined, says Edward Appleton, the head of the Forest Protection Squad.
The message is getting through to everybody. There were a lot of workshops, a lot of awareness, and we've been saying this for a long, long time. For over 3 years we've been saying this. But the people are so stubborn, if there will always be lawbreakers, so for us to do our job.
The Forest Brigade targets vendors in the hope of dissuading illegal hunters. In October, a man was sentenced for the illegal sale of pangolin for the first time. But it is an uphill battle until the scaly animals will be safe.